And welcome back to the Open Mic Broadcast Network. It is the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. Of course, you can always follow me on Twitter at The Mike Prince Show and subscribe to the YouTube channel at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. We are so fortunate to have on the line with us a person that you guys are going to get very accustomed to real soon. That is none other than our volleyball guru, Coach Tamika Newman. How you doing today, Coach?
I'm great. I'm trying to stay cool. As you know, we're experiencing some record-breaking heat for this part of the summer, so I'm trying to stay inside and stay safe.
Yes, ma'am. Look, stay cool, stay calm, and stay collected. How about that?
Yes, I agree.
You're a Texas native, so you know how this thing is. This is not your first rodeo. So it starts with in the mindset, just like you talk about getting your players conditioned to that mind flow. So you got to think cool thoughts, Coach.
That is, you are right. I need to practice what I preach. That is exactly what I tell them when the gym is a little warmer than it needs to be.
Yes, ma'am. And look, we know sometimes y'all turn it up just a slight degree hotter to get them conditioned for such a time as this.
Amen.
Yes, ma'am. Well, look, it's been a while since we last spoken. It was an exciting time when people got good response and got excited about what we're going to try to do in the fall. And we just want to kind of touch bases because before you know it, it'll be serving time and it'll be time to stay in or out. So with that being said, what have you been working on since we last got together?
Oh, I've been training. So the summer is super important for volleyball because we know it starts before school starts. So doing lessons, I'll do some camps at some local public schools here in town. I'll go to D.C. and do a camp. I work with an organization there. But mostly been training in the gym, and then in the evening some athletes are getting some mental skills training to prep to have that mindset to enter the fall and to do their very best. So pretty busy.
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I do understand that. Now, unlike other people's familiarity with recruiting time when it comes to football and basketball season, you're pretty much on that same, you and soccer for that matter, are pretty much on that same flight as far as collegiates are concerned as the football schedule when it comes to recruiting, correct?
We are. In this part of the country, we are lined up with volleyball, the band, let's include them, the band, football, and then college soccer, yes, played in the fall. So same for high school, and then cross country. So same sport, same season for this part of the country. I understand it's a little bit different when you go some other places, but it's pretty much the exact same. I actually employ some college girls who are from out of town, maybe that go to Prairie View or TSU that stay the summers in Houston, and then some locals, when they come home, they'll run some camps for me or come up and just get some reps. So I've seen some of my college girls, and they've last week helped me put on a little kids camp, and that's always very rewarding.
Yes, ma'am. Now, when you put these camps on, are they one-day camps? And roughly, what can you get in a one-day camp, or do you have a minimum of 2 days? How are your camps set up?
For 6th grade and younger, we do 3 days, about 2.5 hours. And anybody that works with kids knows the last hour, you kind of pushing it.
How about the last 2 hours you try to push it? After 30 minutes,
they start down. Oh, yeah, they're pretty much done, and they just kind of start playing around, and they're tired of focusing at that point. And then 7th and older, I do a model I've done for a while. I do 2 days, 4 hours if people bring me into their organization to work. And that always includes a mental skills session the first 20 minutes of each day. So that's been my format for a while. It's gone over pretty well. I mean, they're pretty exhausted after 2 days, but they leave with some good skills training, and then they leave with some good mental skills training and some tools and frameworks that they can use. The time is very small, but over the years, I've created these little acronyms, these checklists, and when they leave with that, that's invaluable because they can go and put that into practice wherever else they train and whatever else they do the rest of the summer. So I know that those hours in the grand scheme of things are not a lot, but if I can leave them with something that they can track, because the girls are really sharp, then I'll see them and I'm like, hey, you been using your checklist? And they're like, yeah, I use it every single time. So they usually leave with something figuratively, and then I'm an author, so sometimes they physically leave with a book. So I try to hit it 3 ways.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Now, when you're doing this, you somewhat get an inside track, and just like anything, when you've been around it long enough, you can automatically identify that it factor. And when people say, well, what is the it factor? And I always say, if I have to explain it to you, then you definitely don't have it. But when you see, yeah, I know that sounded harsh, didn't it? But you get a chance to start putting these people on your radar. You know, maybe they're 6th or 7th grade, and we say, well, this person has it, and if they stick with this, they're going to be something special. Have you had that come to fruition for you, where they might not necessarily come and play under your program, but you could refer them to a program to help that team get better?
I actually have. A couple years ago, I started working with 12s exclusively for travel ball, really to get better as a coach, because if I could understand where we were missing stuff at 12, I could see how you get to 16 and you don't notice. So it was great. But some of the things you can see is picking up on stuff very fast. Obviously, some athletic ability, so special athletically. When you walk in the gym, your eyes go to that kid. They're off the ground faster and quicker than anybody. They can run, move around in small spaces, leaping ability. Those things are obvious. You look, but beyond that, when you see kids who are picking up something really fast, like this is your first introduction to volleyball, and by the second day, they're really getting stuff. Body language when they make a mistake. If you can see them just shaking it off and moving on, like, okay, and then mix that with, they had a little athletic ability, and you're pretty much learning this really fast. When you start to see things like bad body language and bad confidence, usually not a sign that you're going to be able to be really good at it. But I kind of look at demeanor and the way they attack it, and they want to be first. They want to do well. You can see a kid that's raw, but they want to do it right. They're really listening to how you correct them. I'm like, oh, that kid wants to be great. And I'll take my daughter, for example, because she was exposed to sports early because of me. And coaches will say, oh, she started with tennis. She's going to be really good. I said, I don't really know because she doesn't love it yet. And they're like, no, she will. No, she'll be decent just by the sheer fact of exposure early. But is she going to be really, really good?
Look, Coach, don't tell the truth. She's going to be decent because she's my child. She got some of my DNA in her. Go ahead on. It's okay. It's not bragging when you're telling the truth. Go ahead on.
She got a little MVP DNA in her, a little swat trap DNA. But I said if she loves it, because that's reflected in her work ethic. If she loves it, she'll be really good because she'll have access to some good training, and she's got my DNA. But yeah, I'm usually able to see something special in kids, and in most cases it worked. Well, I'm going to tell you what. In some cases, it has come to fruition. In a lot of cases, it has not, because, again, some kids look really, really good when they're young because they've just been exposed. But beyond just being an early exposed, beyond those beginner years where you're just being introduced to sports. So the first 2 or 3 years you're being introduced to sports. The next phase, they kind of have to really start to fall in love and want it. And that phase they've dropped off. So I've seen them when they were little. I'm like, oh, she's going to be something. And then somewhere in the middle, and it's for many reasons. It could be just not quality training in the area, maybe resources. Maybe they don't love it. A bad coach could have ruined it for them. Said, no, this ain't what I want to do. So it's a lot of factors. But
well, when you're looking at a kid who has that it factor, and I guess it's going to be safe to assume this, especially when it comes to volleyball, a lot of cases you have athletic girls who happen to play volleyball, versus a pure volleyball player, because they have to be introduced to the game. Because most kids, especially when they're of African descent, they're going to be more familiar with the basketball. They're going to be more familiar with track. They're going to be more familiar even with softball. So when it comes to that volleyball, it's a hybrid of all of those sports, believe it or not, with the explosions that come and the leg conditioning and this, that, and the other. So when that kid is 12 years old, and is it safe to assume, well, they're not really sure who or what they want to be. And in some cases, I'm not saying in all cases, and parents, if you listen well, don't get to be that pushy sport parent, that's hollering, come on, Caitlin, you can do better. Come on, Bobby, you can do better. How thin of a line is that?
Super duper important, really. And I just talked about it, the kids' first 2 to 3 years of exposure to sports, which to me, they should be trying about 3. I love starting with soccer. I love that for soccer and track. I love it, to start them with that. And you can start them with those sooner than the others, because it's a lot of running and chasing. And so parents not letting them, number one, if it's not fun in the 2-3 years, the research shows they won't continue it. It has to be fun. That's the first thing. And if you're constantly harping on how they're doing, then it's not going to be fun. And then not being process-driven. I actually hate taking score before, 12 or 13. I hate going to see 8-year-old, 10-year-old stuff, because the minute we start to take score, we compromise skills, because you're going to do whatever it takes to win, and that gives a false sense of that you're good, but the skill set is not improving. So, and that's really a more international approach to training. They train, but they're not necessarily starting them to compete until they're 12 or 13. And they only compete with kids who they believe mentally now are ready for competition. So, bad parents, you could totally ruin it for them. I kind of knew that because I had coached 10 years before I had my daughter, and I'm super grateful for that, because I would have been super intense. But because I could see, God, this kid would do great if their dad just go sit down. Dad, you call her name right before she serves, or you make sure to sit right where when she looks to the straight ahead in the bleachers, you're right there. Why would you do that? So many parents. But back to praising the process. So when they get in the car, it's not did y'all win, it's how'd your dribbling look today? How many rebounds did you pull? What'd you do on defense? Did you stay in front of your man? Versus how many points you scored?
Right.
Well,
so
praising those,
it creates that selfish monster too. And
it does.
You kill the teammate, and you're creating a superstar wannabe, in my mind, in my only mind, individual, and it becomes very, very negative on that individual and on the team and any coach that they interact, because you have this Sybil effect, one thing going on the left side of the brain, the other one going on the right side of the brain, and then if you happen to get on them as a coach who is the nurturer, the discipline, and the trainer, then you're picking on my baby. So you got a real fine line. I've been in the coaching realm many moons ago. I'm too old now to be trying to deal with that aspect of my life. You know what I mean? So I let you youngsters carry on the torch. But it's a real, true balancing act. So I don't envy you, but I give you glory.
The one thing, thank you. It is more than a notion to deal with a disgruntled, ignorant, and I use ignorant in a sense that not fully educated on how to best support their kid in their athletic journey. It's a lot. I mean, it's running coaches out of the business, and I just listened to a podcast this morning. There's a official shortage because of parents and their yelling and bad sportsmanship and all that goes with that. So parents are really important, but I've tried to. A club brought me in, the volleyball school brought me in. It's out in Katy, and it's 2 international guys. They train. That's it. And you move up tiers within the training, but there's no competing. And they start at little bitty kids. So anyway, we shared a philosophy, so I've done some professional development with them. But they brought me in to talk to their parents about, okay, they introduced one 13-year-old team to start competing. But they didn't want to just throw parents into that or kids into that. Here's what it looks like to play competitively. And we went in, I did a workshop with them because they don't want to be a club or AAU volleyball team because it's a mess. Mm-hmm. And they're kind of slowly knowing they need to add in competing because that's the American way. I want to go on Saturdays and sit and watch competition, and I want you to take score. But they're taking the initiative that we're going to do some education before we start this year.
Right.
And so it's really, really good. More people should adopt that mentality. Everybody in the ecosystem of the athlete's journey, parents, coaches, and the players, everybody needs to have that personal or professional development piece so they don't ruin it because it's about the kids.
Bottom line, it should be about the kids and, not about your personal record, how many games you won or lost and, this, that, and the other. So if it's developing kids, because those kids turn to be young adults and turn to be parents and community members to help us keep this thing moving forward. Because after the days are done of spikes and blocks, you still have to be a productive citizen wherever you may reside. We're talking right now with Coach Newman of the PV legend, of volleyball guru, and we're just so excited about what's going to be coming forward for this 2023 fall season. And with that being said, we're going to pivot real quickly, Coach. Had you had a chance to do any research on some of these SWAC teams, and what are things looking like for you?
I've just been looking at some of the recruits that they've sealed. Some of them are really quiet in the summer, not much work. A lot of the SWAC coaches are around they travel around to the showcases. So there was a big HBCU showcase down in Dallas last weekend. A couple of the SWAC schools were in attendance there. So that's always great. That event is going on. Maybe its third year. It's pretty popular. HBCU specific showcases there's about 3 or 4 going on in the country. So it's really, really exciting. There's also another one coming down to Texas Southern. They're going to play host to it. And the H&P is a great facility for something like that. Opens up to several courts.
Yes, ma'am.
Our teams that are out front, to me last year it became very obvious that the SWAC rolled into about 3 tiers. And we know Alabama State, Florida A&M were in that top tier. Jackson kind of teetered between there and that second tier. And then you got Graham and, was it Pine Bluff last year? Who else? And then we had our 2 or 3.
Alabama A&M had a pretty strong run as well.
They did. Alabama A&M. Yeah, so it's kind of 4 in that top one. And then we got 3 or 4 in the middle, and then we've got 3 or 4 at the bottom. But the top 4 schools that got some Division I transfers made good use of the transfer portal. Texas Southern graduated a lot of seniors, so they're going to have basically a whole new team. And then we got Cherie Lindsay at Prairie View that knows how to win. She'll be able to input some systems. She has some openings left for some 23 kids, which there's tons of kids left in the portal that can play. I'd have to see more to know what they're going to look like for this year. We know she's going to turn it around and they're going to be a contender. Just don't know how soon. Just based on when she got there, and obviously she had to make some changes. Some people decided to leave or had some different options. So we shall see.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And it's always tricky whenever you're new to any system. You're going to have what I call the attitude adjustments from both sides. Some say, I'm out of here. Some say, I can make it work. And then you got to convince others to come and be a part of something new, something adventurous, and something that they quite are unsure how it's going to come out, but they know they have enough skill set they can come and be a part of something very special. So there's a balancing act going on all over the place. But I'm pretty sure that with Miss Lindsay, she has connections with a dynamic Coach Newman and other people to help her get some things off the ground. And I don't know why, but I got the strangest feelings, man, that you're kind of like the godmother. I won't say godfather, but the godmother that'll be say, hey, kiss the ring, and we can help you get some things behind the scenes done where we can move ahead. Am I close?
That's one way to put it. I plan on doing the best I can to help. She had a fundraiser going, raising some funds to do some different things, and I reached out to my SWAC 06 teammates. I said, hey, let's dominate this fundraiser for Coach Lindsay like we dominated the SWAC that year. So I'm pulling out everything I can to let's give her all the tools to do a great job. So I can't do it by myself, so I'm doing my part and then spreading the word to get them back motivated. Some of my teammates hadn't been very active with the program, all incredibly successful, if you know what I mean. Let's start back giving some funds to the program, and let's start showing up for these girls. So.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? You can help. That was a perfect spinoff, because I extended a challenge earlier throughout the week. I'm looking for 500 people who will walk with me and commit $100 toward Prairie View Athletics. Okay? Now, of course, this is no slight toward anyone, but let's be honest. This will go a long way helping sports like volleyball, softball, soccer, the non-quote-unquote new sports to go a long way. So we're going to help push that envelope. And like I tell people, I don't receive a dime of it. I'm not on Prairie View's payroll. This is because of my love for PVU, and I believe in what we're trying to do collectively at the Hill and have the nation. So those who can, let us rally together and let's drum up the cause. Now, you might be in a position, but you might be extremely successful like some of your old teammates there. It's, oh man, $100, that ain't nothing, and whatever you can give, and we understand that some might be in a bit of a recession, but whatever you can do to help that cause, let's join together and show the rest of not just SWAC Nation, but the world that we can and will stand together.
I love it. I absolutely love it. You can count me in, and I'll do my best to spread the word. And you're right, that much money would go a long way with those sports that are non-revenue.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Well, Coach, it's always a joy, and I get carried away every time I get to talking to you. I get so excited. But I do know that you have an extremely busy schedule. We're looking forward to our volleyball weekly sessions, and I know you're going to bring so much to the table. And I want to give you some closing thoughts and comments as we get ready to wrap this segment up.
Oh, man, some closing thoughts. I'm looking forward to some great quality volleyball from the SWAC. Looking forward to the community coming out and supporting them and the coaches and all the work that they're putting in, and supporting morally and monetarily.
Yes, ma'am.
I think the biggest thing we all can do that costs no money is sharing results, congratulating when your schools nail down some great recruits. So using social media to really, really expose the conference and all the great things that they're doing. So just looking forward to the fall. Of course, I'm looking forward to checking in weekly and talking about and exposing everybody to SWAC volleyball and all its greatness.
Yes, ma'am. Well, look, thank you so much. She is Coach Tamika Newman. I just call her the volleyball guru here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. I am the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. You like that, huh, Coach?
That's hilarious.
You can always follow me on Twitter at The Mike Prince Show. The YouTube channel is the Open Mic Broadcast Network. You can subscribe to the channel, like the videos. They help us continue to grow. And don't forget, you can visit the website, at obnradio.com. We have the 24-hour stream. You can hear interviews such as this and other legendary interviews and games that were played, and just a whole lot of wealth and information of the world of Southwestern Athletic Conference and our beloved Prairie View A&M University. I must exit stage left for right now, so until the next time, you guys be blessed, and we'll see you on the other side.